At my wedding, the bride, Lily Vance, whispered, "I'm sorry," to me before turning around and walking straight toward my older brother, Julian Sterling. The officiant's smile froze in a grotesque rictus, and a wave of shocked murmurs swept through the guests. My father, Victor Sterling, chairman of the massive Sterling Dynamics conglomerate, remained expressionless. My sister, Claudia Sterling, wore a faint, mocking sneer. Only my brother, Julian, opened his arms in triumph, pulling Lily, clad in the wedding dress I had paid for, into his embrace. Then he raised their clasped hands like a prizefighter, arching an eyebrow at me. "Lily," he said into the microphone, his voice smooth but amplified enough for the entire ballroom to hear, "you made the smartest choice. The future matriarch of the Sterling family shouldn't be the wife of a loser." Loser. That was the label Julian and the entire Sterling family had plastered on me for over 20 years. I stood under the spotlight, the punchline to the evening's cruelest joke. The background music had cut out, leaving only the stinging whispers of the crowd to prick at my ears like needles. "I told you, the second son is a total wash. A black sheep. The Vance girl is a realist. She picked the golden boy when it mattered. This is going to be a show." The Sterling family just lost all dignity. Lily leaned into Julian's chest, refusing to look at me, her shoulders trembling like a frightened dove. But I knew better. 3 months ago, she had held my hand and sworn, "Ethan, even if the whole world looks down on you, I believe in you. I'll always be by your side." Looking back, it was laughable. Victor Sterling finally made his move. He walked onto the stage, took the microphone, his face like granite. Not because of my humiliation, but because of the disruption. He looked at me, then at his perfect son Julian, and announced, "Distinguished guests, I apologize for the farce. It is a family misfortune. My younger son, Ethan, lacks the character to hold his station, causing his fiancée to reconsider at the last moment. This is a private matter, and I will handle it." He casually framed a calculated betrayal as my lack of character. Then he turned to me, eyes void of fatherly warmth, filled only with cold disgust. "Ethan, why are you still standing there? Haven't you embarrassed us enough? Get out. Get out." I laughed. It was the first sound I'd made since taking the stage. I looked at everyone on that platform. My high and mighty, infallible father. My smug brother who stole my fiancée. My sister who watched me like I was a stain on the carpet. And the woman who traded love for status. They looked at me like a criminal, my only crime being that I wasn't ruthless enough, wasn't excellent enough, that I was an obstacle in their path. "Dad, are you sure you want me to leave?" I asked, my voice quiet but laced with an eerie calm. Julian sneered, pulling Lily tighter. "Ethan, stop posturing. Apart from begging for scraps, what can you actually do? Get lost. Don't ruin the reception for Lily and me." He actually wanted to finish the ceremony with her, right there at my wedding. I nodded, my gaze sweeping over their faces one last time, landing on Victor. "Fine. I'm leaving." I unpinned the boutonniere from my lapel, tossed it on the floor, and walked off the stage. "No screaming, no crying, no lingerie." Behind me, Julian's voice boomed. "Thank you all for witnessing true love. The path was rocky, but love wins." The guests watched my retreating back with a mix of pity and schadenfreude. At the ballroom doors, I paused without turning around. My voice wasn't loud, but it cut through the room like a stone dropped in a still lake. As of today, Ethan Sterling voluntarily severs all ties with the Sterling family and Sterling Dynamics. We are strangers. I pushed the doors open and walked out. Behind me, silence fell, followed by Victor's furious roar. "Insolent! That ungrateful brat!" Walking down the long hotel corridor, I pulled out my phone and dialed a number. "Marcus, is it done?" A steady, sophisticated voice answered. "Mr. Ethan, everything is ready. Sterling Dynamics' most critical overseas raw material supplier, Orion Mining, unilaterally terminated all supply contracts 30 minutes ago." A cold smile touched my lips. "Good," I whispered. "The game has just begun." They thought I was an ant they could crush. They didn't know that by pushing me away, they had just shoved the Sterling family off a cliff. My name is Ethan Sterling, the second son. Above me, the business prodigy, Julian. Below me, the shrewd executive sister, Claudia. And me, the spare. Julian was the sun. I was the shadow. He was valedictorian. I scraped by. He was the crown prince of the company. I studied artificial intelligence, a useless major in their eyes, and started a small tech studio they considered a hobby. Victor used to scream at me. "I built an empire. How did I spawn a loser like you? If you were 1/10 the man your brother is, I could rest easy." So when Lily, a sweet girl from a decent family, dated me, they thought she was blind. I thought she was my light. Turns out, She was just another spotlight highlighting my failure. Stepping out of the hotel into the biting Chicago wind, my head cleared. My phone buzzed. A bank notification. Alert. Your account ending in 8899 has been frozen. Available balance. $0.00. Then another. Alert. Your credit card ending in 1234 has been deactivated. I chuckled. My dear father moved fast. He wanted me on the street, begging him for forgiveness. Unfortunately, his math was wrong. A black Phaeton pulled up silently. A middle-aged man with gold-rimmed glasses and the air of a British butler stepped out. Mr. Ethan. He held the door. This was Marcus Hale, the man my mother left me. My trump card. When my mother died, she left me her private assets, a fortune independent of Sterling Dynamics, and Marcus, her most trusted advisor. Ethan, she had said, don't live in their shadow. Be happy. I used that money to secretly found Revelation Capital. My small studio was a front. Revelation was now a titan in the tech investment world. We owned dozens of startups, including Orion Mining. Actually, I didn't just invest in Orion, I bought it out completely. Inside the car, Marcus handed me a laptop. Sir, Sterling Dynamics stock is already reacting. I watched the green line plummet. Sterling's core tech relied on a rare earth metal, promethium. Orion Mining controlled 70% of the global supply. I had just choked them out. Leak the news, I said. Orion has a new exclusive partner. Yes, sir. But Victor will find out who owns Orion soon. I wanted to find out, I smiled. That's when the fun starts. My phone rang. A number I knew. I answered, and Claudia's icy voice poured out. Ethan, are you insane? What did you do to Orion Mining? Claudia, shouldn't you be at the reception, toasting our brilliant brother? Why do you have time for a loser like me? Cut the sarcasm. Claudia snapped, panic edging into her voice. Dad is losing his mind. Do you know what cutting the promethium supply means? We'll default on billions in orders next quarter. Do you want to destroy the family? Destroy the family? I laughed, a harsh sound. Didn't you all destroy me first? When you trampled me into the dirt in front of the city's elite, did you think about us being family then? Silence on the other end. Claudia, I said, articulating every syllable. Tell Victor that if he wants to talk, Julian and Lily must come to me personally and kneel. Otherwise, no deal. You're dreaming, she shrieked. I hung up. Marcus glanced at me in the rearview mirror. Sir, there's no turning back after this. Turning back. I looked at the blurring city lights. Marcus, I haven't had a way back since the day Mom died. Breathing the same air as them makes me sick. My counterattack was just beginning. The news of Orion's cutoff leaked before the market opened the next day. Sterling Dynamics crashed at the bell. Rumors flew. Insolvency, obsolete tech. Even that Victor Sterling was in the ICU. My phone exploded with calls from relatives who usually ignored me. I blocked them all. Lily sent a text. Ethan, I know you hate me, but Sterling Dynamics is your home. Don't burn it down. I'm begging you, stop this. Looking at the words, I'm begging you. I felt only irony. I replied with 3 words, you're not worth it. Then I blocked her. On the 3rd day, Julian finally cracked. He couldn't reach me by phone, so he tracked me to my hotel suite. I was video conferencing with Marcus when the doorbell rang, accompanied by violent pounding. Ethan, get your ass out here. I know you're inside. It was Julian, sounding nothing like the golden boy. I signaled Marcus to wait and opened the door. 3 people stood there, Julian, Claudia, and a haggard-looking Lily. Julian's eyes were bloodshot. He lunged for my collar. Ethan, you bastard. What are you doing? I sidestepped, and he stumbled, looking pathetic. Brother, still so hot-tempered. I leaned against the doorframe. Shouldn't you be on your honeymoon? Why are you here barking at my door? My eyes flicked to Lily. She wore designer clothes, but looked exhausted. She flinched behind Julian. Ethan, don't go too far. Claudia stepped up, always the defender. Do you know how many employees are at risk? Are you going to ruin thousands of livelihoods for a grudge? Moral blackmal. Typical. Claudia, tell that to Dad. Or your precious brother. I sneered. Who threw me away like trash? Now that you need me, we're family again. You, Claudia choked. Ethan, Lily stepped out, eyes rimmed red. It was my fault. Blame me, not them. I'll do anything to make it up to you. Make it up to me. I interrupted, stepping close to her. She shrank back. Lily, what could you possibly offer me? Your love? Please. That's worthless. I leaned down, whispering so only she could hear. You picked Julian for the money and status. But did you ever consider? What if he ends up with nothing? Did you make a bad trade? Her face went sheet white. Shut up. Julian yanked her back. Stop trying to get inside her head. You think you're the only game in town? I've already contacted Eurometals. They can supply promethium. I burst out laughing. Euro metals? Ha ha. Julian, you really are adorably naive. Julian turned purple. What's so funny? Eurometals is the biggest supplier in Europe. If we pay a premium, they'll sell. Really? I stopped laughing, my eyes turning into ice. Do you know who Eurometal's second largest shareholder is? Julian froze. Claudia's face fell. I pulled up a video on my phone and tossed it to Julian. It showed me toasting with an older white man in a boardroom. Robert Thorne, CEO of Eurometals. I forgot to mention, I said softly. Last month, Revelation Capital injected 500 million euros into Eurometals. I'm their strategic partner. Robert is my friend. So guess what? Will they take your premium, or will they honor the request of the man who holds their future and treat you like a joke? The loser, the hobbyist. I had woven a web around them while they weren't looking. And now I was pulling it tight. Julian stared at the screen, mouth agape. His business acumen was useless against absolute power. His backup plan was a trap I had set months ago. The sun was falling. Claudia looked terrified. She realized the scale of this. When did you? When? I looked at her. When you mocked me. When Dad called me a failure. When I was buried in code while you played corporate royalty. You enjoyed the glory. I built my own road. Why should I sacrifice my empire to pay for your stupidity? Lily collapsed to the floor, eyes vacant. She realized she had jumped off a secure luxury liner onto the Titanic. Julian snapped. He looked at me not with contempt, but with a mix of fear and insane jealousy. Impossible. You're a loser. You're lying. You have to be lying. He screamed like a banshee and lunged at me. This time I didn't dodge. The moment he entered my range, I drove my foot hard into his stomach. Thud. Julian flew backward, slammed into the corridor wall, and slid down, curled into a prom-like ball, gasping for air. I put 20 years of resentment into that kick. Julian, do you see now? I crouched in front of him, patting his pale, sweating face. Between the two of us, who's the real loser? Claudia shrieked and rushed to help him, Lily scrambling after her. It was a pathetic sight. Ethan, you hit him. I'm calling the police. Do it. I stood up, straightening my cuffs. Let's see who gets charged first, trespassing or self-defense. Claudia froze. I turned to close the door. Wait, a voice, aged but commanding, echoed from the elevator bank. Victor Sterling, flanked by bodyguards, marched toward us. He looked terrible, but his eyes were still sharp. Dad, Claudia cried out. Victor glanced at his groveling son, frowned, but didn't help him. He locked eyes with me. We need to talk. 15 minutes, I said coldly, stepping aside. My time is expensive. The board members behind him bristled, but Victor waved them off and entered my suite alone. The heavy door clicked shut. Victor stood by the floor-to-ceiling window, looking at the Chicago skyline, his back to me. Name your price. He broke the silence. How much for the shares in Orion and Eurometals? That was Victor. Money solved everything, even blood. I don't need money, I said. His shoulders stiffened. He turned, staring at me with a complex mix of anger and confusion. What do you want? Ruining Sterling Dynamics hurts you too. You're a Sterling. I recall resigning from the family at the wedding. You said I lack character. I reminded him. That was anger speaking, he roared. Ethan, I know you hate me. You hate that I favored your brother. But I did it for you. For me. I laughed incredulously, raising me as a punching bag, letting the world mock me, letting my fiancé humiliate me. That was for me. Yes. He stepped forward, shaking. Julian is aggressive, sharp. He was born for the spotlight. I had to push him out front to take the arrows. You're quiet. I kept you in the background to let you live a wealthy, worry-free life without the corporate sharks eating you alive. I was protecting you. What a performance. Years ago, I might have believed it. Now it just made me nauseous. Protecting me? I countered. By blocking me from the business? By calling me useless the moment I succeeded? By letting everyone stomp on my dignity to boost Julian's ego? I stepped into his space, towering over him. Victor dropped the act. You weren't protecting me. You were culling me. You were terrified I'd become powerful enough to threaten your precious Julian. You broke my wings on purpose. My words hit him like physical blows. He stumbled back against the sofa. You're talking nonsense. Am I? I sat down, crossing my legs. Sterling is dying. The fruit is ripe, Dad. Time to eat. What are your terms? He rasped. Simple. 1. A televised press conference. You apologize to me publicly for years of suppression and slander. 2. You return my mother's entire dowry with interest. Marcus has the numbers. 3. I leaned forward. Julian is disinherited, stripped of all positions, banned from the building. Forever. Victor turned purple. Impossible. You're destroying him. He destroyed me at the altar. Did you care? This is non-negotiable. Victor clenched his fists until his knuckles cracked. He looked like a trapped animal. Finally, he hissed, I need time to think. Sure. I gestured to the door. Sterling stock will stay in freefall until you decide. He left without a word. I poured a whiskey exhausted. Dealing with them was more draining than running a billion-dollar merger. Marcus called again on video. He looked grave. Sir, I found something in your mother's old safety deposit box. While auditing the assets, I found a document. He hesitated. A DNA test. My heart skipped. Who? Victor Sterling and Julian Sterling. Marcus's voice trembled. Sir, the result is negative. They are not related. Boom. My mind went blank. The whiskey glass slipped from my fingers, shattering. Amber liquid pooled on the floor like blood. Julian wasn't Victor's son. It hit me like a lightning bolt. It explained everything. The paranoia. The obsession. Victor knew. He knew Julian wasn't his. He was terrified the secret would get out. So he overcompensated. He poured everything into the illegitimate child to prove the Sterling bloodline was pure, to hide his own shame of being cuckolded. And me? The biological son? I was the walking reminder of his failure, or perhaps the safety net he resented needing. He didn't love Julian. He loved the lie. He suppressed me to keep the lie safe. I laughed until tears ran down my face. I wasn't the loser. I was the sacrifice in a massive, fragile con. Julian wasn't a golden boy. He was a counterfeit god. And Victor. Oh, Victor. I didn't just want revenge anymore. I wanted the truth to burn them alive. Marcus, I said into the phone, my voice dead calm. Prepare a press conference. Live stream it globally. I have a gift for my father and brother. The conference was held in the same hotel ballroom as the wedding. Poetic justice. Hundreds of reporters packed the room. Sterling Dynamics was the biggest story in the country. Victor arrived with Claudia, looking like a man marching to the gallows. Julian and Lily were absent. Victor clearly too ashamed to bring them. I walked in 5 minutes before the start, alone, wearing a sharp black suit. The crowd parted. Flashbulbs went off like strobes. I took the stage, ignored Victor, grabbed the run-of-show sheet from the MC, and tossed it in the trash. I'm running this, I announced. A board member stood up. Ethan, you're out of line. Sit down or get out. I snapped. He sat. I know what you want to see. I addressed the cameras. A corporate drama. But first, a history lesson. I clicked a remote. The massive LED screen behind me lit up. A grainy black and white photo appeared. A beautiful young woman, my mother, smiling in the arms of a man who was definitely not Victor Sterling. Victor gasped, jumping from his seat. What are you doing? He shrieked, terror in his eyes. Telling a story. I smiled cruelly. A story about lies. I narrated the truth. My mother's forced marriage to Victor for money. Victor building his empire on her dowry. My father claims he's a self-made man. In reality, Sterling Dynamics was bought with my mother's money. He's a fraud. The reporters scribbled furiously. Victor looked like he was suffocating. Then the climax. After the marriage, my mother had a son, Julian, but Victor chose to hide a painful truth to save face. He raised a child that wasn't his as the heir and treated his biological son, me, as garbage to protect the counterfeit's position. The room erupted. The crown prince was illegitimate. The loser was the true heir. Lies. Slander. Victor screamed, pointing a shaking finger. You ungrateful son. Am I lying? I clicked the remote again. The DNA report filled the screen. Probability of paternity, 0.00%. Red stamps. Official seals. Science doesn't lie, Victor. Your legacy is a hoax. Victor collapsed into his chair, muttering impossible. The flashbulbs were blinding. Suddenly, the ballroom doors banged open. Julian and Lily burst in. They had been watching the stream. Dad, tell them it's fake. Julian ran onto the stage, shaking Victor violently. His world was dissolving. He wasn't special. He was nothing. Lily stood frozen below the stage, horror written on her face. She had bet on a winning horse that turned out to be a donkey. Victor stared at the screen, then snapped. He shoved Julian away, grabbed a microphone, and screamed, eyes bulging, yes. He's not mine. So what? He's still 10 times the man you are. I molded him. Sterling is mine. He was foaming at the mouth. Then, in a fit of hysterical rage, he turned and rammed his head into the corner of the heavy oak podium. Crack. Blood poured down his face. He slumped to the floor. Chaos. Screams. The Sterling Empire ended not with a whimper, but with a bloody thud. I watched coldly. It was over. I turned and walked away from the pandemonium. Behind me, Julian wailed over Victor's unconscious body, and Lily wept on the floor. Sterling Dynamics was shattered. Outside, the sun was shining. Marcus opened the car door. "It's over, sir." "No," I said, looking at the distant Sterling Tower. "It's just starting. Initiate the hostile takeover. I want the company renamed within 3 days." Victor survived, but had a massive stroke. He was paralyzed, unable to speak, trapped in his own body. Sterling stock became worthless. My acquisition was brutal and swift. Within a week, I sat in the chairman's office. It felt normal. Marcus entered. Assets liquidated. Victor is in a state facility. Claudia sold her jewelry to pay for his first month. I nodded. Justice. And the others? Julian couldn't handle reality. He got drunk, started a bar fight, and broke his leg. Lily cleared out his wallet and vanished. A fitting end. Parasites turning on each other. Marcus handed me an invitation. From Robert Thorne. The World AI Summit in Switzerland. You're the keynote speaker. I looked at the gold embossed Revelation logo next to my name. My era had arrived. Later, I visited my mother's grave. I placed white lilies on the stone. "It's done, Mom." I took it back. "I'm happy now." The wind rustled the trees. I walked back to the car, checking my phone. A message from an old number. A girl from college. A genius coder who went abroad. "Ethan, congrats. I knew you'd shine eventually." I smiled, a real smile this time. I deleted the Sterling family contacts and typed back. "Long time no see. Dinner when you're back?" She replied instantly. "You're on. I actually just got hired by this cool company called Revelation. The boss has your last name. Relation." I looked at the sunset, burning gold across the horizon. The shadow was gone. A new world was waiting. Story complete.